Well, Australian boxing continues to hold its breath on the details of Tszyu's next challenge following that demolition job on former world champion Jeff Horn 3 weeks ago on Main Event. Fox Sports voice of boxing Ben Damon called that fight and joins me now to discuss all the options for Tszyu moving forward. Good morning to you, Benny. Look, there's a new frontrunner to face Tszyu. Who is it?
Good morning to you, Scotty. Yeah, there is a new front-runner to face Tszyu, and everyone's been entering the sweepstakes to get this fight because it probably is the biggest money fight you can have on Australian soils at the moment. And the man that No Limit Boxing, who promote Tszyu, think is the best challenge for their man right now. And that's what they want after seeing him against Jeff Horn, is to see him step up yet again. They believe that man is Dennis Hogan, who has formerly fought for a world title overseas, a couple of them in fact, but probably should have won one of them when he went to Mexico and fought against Jaime Munguia. Dennis Hogan was quite clearly ripped off on the cards and did not get the belt that he deserved. Interestingly, that was the WBO's super welterweight belt, which Tszyu is now well placed to fight for at some point. So they'd really like to test him against Dennis Hogan, who's an Irishman now based in Brisbane and who could have a fight himself in the US later this year. But obviously, with restrictions the way that they are and boxing the way that it is in 2020, that might be difficult. So it could be a fight that is of interest for those at DDP who do promote Dennis Hogan. What that does, of course, is leave Michael Zerafa out in the cold. We saw Michael Zerafa in a couple of fights with Jeff Horn last year. He won one of them in emphatic style, and the other one of them will go down as one of the greatest domestic fights of all time against Jeff Horn, when he was beaten on points in that fight when Jeff Horn produced the punch from the gods. But No Limit Boxing, they say the proven world-class opponent is Dennis Hogan, and they say that they haven't seen that from Michael Zerafa just yet. The other one in the conversation is Daniel Lewis, a little bit earlier in his professional boxing career, but he does have a history with Tszyu in the amateurs, and he's very keen to get that fight as well. But right now, Dennis Hogan is best placed to fight against Tszyu, probably in early December.
All right, it's just TstreeT Controversy with FightView360.com. I have my colleague Big J on the line from Australia. Busy night of boxing here this Saturday, September the 19th, 2020, 7:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. About to cover the top rank card, about to cover the PBC card, and figure we'll do something different and cover some Australian boxing news on a Saturday night prime time. So, Big J, where do we start? So, for what I'm getting from that, a friend of ours, Ben Damon from Main Event and Fox, what is it? It's Foxtel over there, right?
Yeah, Foxtel.
Yeah, Ben Damon.
Yeah, Foxtel.
So you're actually going to hear a long exclusive interview with Ben Damon where they're going to go, him and Big J are going to go into more detail about Australian boxing as a whole. That's actually going to come out in between the boxing content and videos you're going to see tonight, whenever you're watching this video. So let's jump into it. So what I'm getting from it is Dennis Hogan could be fighting here in the States on the PBC card per his rumored PBC contract, but if he can't get over here in the States, it looks like right now there's talks advancing for him to take on Tszyu. So can you give us a little bit of info? Can you give us just general information on that and what you've heard over there so far?
Well, basically, that's exactly what I've heard. I mean, as Ben Damon said, No Limit Boxing, who promotes Tszyu, is looking for another fight before the end of the year for Tszyu. And, there was speculation there was going to be Michael Zerafa. But as the video said, Dennis Hogan is clearly the most established fighter at 154. And I've been saying this for 6 months since we did our first video back in March, that Tszyu needs to fight Dennis Hogan because he is the only established 154-pounder in the country. So, yeah, I mean, the problem is with this country is that you've got guys, 2 or 3 guys at the top, and everyone else is just around, lower to mid-card fighters. So his other option is Daniel Lewis, but Daniel Lewis is nowhere near on the class of Tszyu. Yes, he has a victory over him in the amateurs, but Tszyu, based on Daniel Lewis's last performance against Sebastian Pandora on the undercard to Fury Wilder 2, Tszyu would probably blast him out of there in probably about 6 rounds. So.
Yeah. So let me give just the viewers, some information on the fighters. Dennis Hogan, 28-3-1 with 7 KOs. You last saw him fight against Jamal Charlo. He lost 7-round TKO. Jamal Charlo is actually fighting 7 days from today against Sergey Derevianchenko to defend that 160-pound title. So basically, Dennis Hogan is a 154-pounder, but he does campaign or masquerade, I'm going to say, at 160. You know, it's a little bit too big for him. So before that, he fought Jaime Munguia in a very controversial fight in which I covered here on the channel, where pretty much a wide majority had him losing, meaning had him winning and Jaime Munguia losing the fight. Daniel Lewis, 6-1 with 4 KOs. You saw him on Wilder versus Fury 2. I actually watched the fight. I don't remember if I put out a video, likely not. On the Wilder Fury 2 undercard, and he lost to the 6'5", 6'6" Sebastian Fundora, the Towering Inferno. He just fought also a couple of weeks ago. So, and looks like as Ben Damon and me and Big J talked about, is looking like Mick Zerafa is out of the picture, because he was pursuing, and there's no disrespect to the fighters at all, but he was trying to, or is still trying to fight Anthony Mundine. You know, but I'm going to let you jump in now, Big J. It doesn't make sense to me.
No, well, I mean, Mick Zerafa sort of shot himself in the foot. I mean, that's what you get when you want to pursue fights with 45-year-old veterans that should have retired years ago. I mean, no one's going to take you seriously. So, but having said that, regardless of Mick trying to pursue a fight with Mundine, who is he actually beating at 154? He took Hell Brook to hell and back, yeah, but he lost.
Yeah.
Peter Quinlan knocked him out, and then there's a few other guys that, you know, what other names has he got on his record besides knocking out Jeff Horn? So, yeah, I mean, Mick, you know, where Dennis is an established 154,
and should have been a world champion.
Should have been a world champion. Mick has never competed for a world title, and the 2 ex-champions he fought, he lost to. Oh, except for you know, he beat Jeff Horn, but Jeff got him in the rematch. So if he won that rematch, obviously, you know, he'd be top dog, but he didn't. And yeah, I mean, I don't think Mundine Zerafa's going to happen anyway, because I can't get a TV deal, but we'll talk about that later. But you know, Hogan versus Tszyu is the best fight domestically Australia can get at the moment, and what I said, 6 months I've been harping on this.
Yeah.
This is a brilliant fight. It's got a fantastic opportunity, and I really hope that it does happen, because it's going to be a fantastic fight. Obviously, Tim Tszyu will come in as the heavy favourite, but still, it's going to be a fantastic bout. I hope it really does get done.
It makes me wonder, though, about, you know, something a little bit far off. If the fight does get done, what would the TV deal be here in the States? Because that would make me think, well, does that mean that PBC, Al Heyman, is, you know, after Tim Tszyu? And, you know, over here in the States, you know, they've done it before where Showtime, you know, would air a card midday or so. So I don't know, you know, that's a little bit too far down to think about. But on paper, I see why it's a perfect fight for Tim Tszyu to take. Oh, it'll be a dangerous fight, but he already fought Jeff Horn. So, you know, fighting Dennis Hogan, they might as well keep. I like the move, you know, but it all depends on if Dennis Hogan is going to be fighting here in the States in November.
Yeah, well, that's true. Well, also, I mean, we don't know who's training Dennis Hogan at the moment, because he was supposed to go over to the States to train with Wayne McLaughlin, I think his name is, but that didn't happen because of COVID. So he's not with Glenn Rushton anymore. So who's actually? I don't know who's training him. I'm going to have to find that out. Yeah. So I know he's done spars with Joel Camilleri, but I don't know who actually is training him at the moment. So.
Well,
that's something I have to.
Right now, Tim Tszyu is ranked number 2 by the WBO. So, as we talked about before, sometime in the next year, about year and a half, maybe, give or take 18 months, he's going to be ordered to fight, you know, if he keeps winning, to fight for a title. So, for those who don't know, here's the champions. Jermell Charlo's defending his WBC 154-pound title against unified Jason Rosario, WBA Super World and IBF and IBO. Or does Laura have that? I forgot, but that's a big fight on Showtime pay-per-view. Also in other territories, is going to be on Fight.tv. That's FITE. I know that's for sure over in the UK. And Patrick Teixeira is the WBO champion who has been ordered to fight Brian Castano. And according to this tweet right here from WBO president, just to nip all this in the bud, WBO president, Paco Vallasurial or Vacasal, I don't know how to pronounce his name. It says here, been advised that an agreement is set for WBO junior middleweight champion Tszyu versus Castaño as mandated by the championship committee. The bout was set for April 25th, but due to COVID, it was postponed. We've been informed it will be held November 2020. We stand by the committee's ruling, and it has here in all caps, no exception. So, Tszyu, according to various reports, wanted to have a interim fight or like a tune-up or whatever, stay busy fight, and that may be where Tszyu's team like kind of reached out. That's what I'm getting from it. Jay. To try to see if they could sneak in there.
They reached out. Yeah, they reached out to a Golden Boy to see if they can bring him out here, but obviously the WBO squashed that. But yeah, there was reports that Matty Rose did contact Golden Boy and offered bring Tszyu out to Australia and he could have a voluntary defence before he fought Castaño, but obviously the WBO squashed that, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
So Tszyu's just going to have to wait. I mean, thinking that he can jump the queue because he beat Jeff Horn. No, I don't like that. You wait your turn like everyone else, mate. So
yeah, I mean, he's ranked right now. He's ranked number 7 by the WBC. I don't see he's ranked 11 by the WBO, number 4 by the IBF, and number 2 by the WBO. So as I said, it's looking like between the IBF and the WBO, especially the WBO, he will get a title shot.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he just has to wait for this fight between Tszyu and then Castaño, and then he's right there in the mix to face the winner. Absolutely, but he's got to wait. He's got to wait for the Tszyu Castaño fight first, or go and fight someone else. I mean, what's the old mate's name that just won the IBO title? What's his name? Larry Lara.
Yeah, Eversley Lara.
Yeah, he just won the IBO title. So he's waiting for the winner of Charlo
Rosario. Yeah. So all right,
Tszyu's time will come. It's just a matter of when, not if. But he's just got to be patient.
So, closing thoughts on Horn versus, Tszyu versus Hogan, before you move on to the next Australian boxing news?
Well, they're trying to get it in Sydney at the Bankwest Stadium in Parramatta, which is a new Flash stadium there. I think they probably should take it to Townsville because, Townsville was such a success.
Establish them there, like we talked about.
Yeah, but the problem, with Tszyu being a Sydney fella, and Sydney not having a stadium fight since Green Mundine won, which is back in 2006, you'd think the those Sydney promoters like staying in Sydney, which is fair enough. But you got to go where the money is, and Tszyu's got a good following in Townsville, and people from Townsville, the North Queensland area, will gladly rock up to the fight. So, it'd be Sydney or Townsville where they'd have the fight. But I'd love to see this fight. And Tszyu would be a heavy favourite, but it would be this would legitimise Tszyu's. Now he's beaten Jeff Horn. Now he's beaten
Dennis Hogan. Yeah.
Now he's really that.
That's some high quality wins, and then he would head into a title shot. That's some high quality wins going into a title shot.
Exactly. It'd be a high-quality win. It'd be nothing but a positive, and it would be like, yep, now he's definitely ready.
Well, but he's still going to have a couple of fights after that because he's not going to get his title for, So say, for example, if he does fight Dennis Hogan in December, he's still going to have a busy 2021 because he may not be mandated to be mandatory until next November, likely. And then they still have to negotiate. Because that's how it works. So since WBO president put that ruling out for them to have to fight in November, then that's when the next mandatory is going to be due. They're going to order the next mandatory by next November. A year. So, and then they got to negotiate.
Earlier than that in June?
What you say?
Could they have it earlier than that in June?
I don't think. Usually it's a year because the whoever wins this fight between Castaño and Tszyu, they're going to have a voluntary, and then they have to fight a mandatory. That's usually how it works.
I see. Oh, yeah, right.
Because this is the mandatory right now. That they're fighting each other. So the next one is going to be the voluntary. They can fight whoever they want in the top 15. They may choose Tim for that, but highly unlikely. They're probably going to make him wait to be, mandatory.
Yeah,
unless the money's really, really, really right.
True.
So yeah, next on the docket. We were supposed to talk about I mean, we already talked pretty much everything there is to talk about Glenn Rushton. We really can't beat that horse anymore.
Nah, I'm leaving that alone. I mean, there's been lots of reports that everyone's blaming everyone else.
Yeah.
There's this I'm leaving that alone.
So far, I guess any type of update on Zerafa versus Mundine?
No, not yet. I'll make contacts with. I spoke to Ben Damon the other day, and he doesn't think it's going to happen because it's not going to be televised.
Yeah.
And if they can't get a crowd out there because Victoria, even though regional Victoria's restrictions have been lifted somewhat, it won't be lifted to the point where they can let 8,000 people into the Bendigo Stadium where they want to have it.
Mm-hmm.
So it ain't going to happen in Victoria if it's going to happen at all. So I wouldn't hold my breath for Zerafa Mundine. But we do have a women's title fight coming up. Shanika Johnson, who's a New Zealand-born fighter who came over to Australia, is fighting Bianca Almir on the 14th of November for the WBA Gold Bantamweight title.
Mm-hmm.
So in the Melbourne Pavilion. So I don't know how they're going to do that in Melbourne, considering Melbourne's still in lockdown. But we'll see how that happens. But yeah, at least there's a women's title fight coming up soon, which is good.
What's her weight?
But basically, bantamweight, so 118.
Okay.
Yeah, and of course the big one's coming up is the Monster versus Mayhem Jason Maloney. So that's the big one.
I'm pretty sure that they're going to start gearing up with the promotion on that sometime in the next couple of weeks, especially since it's taking place on Halloween here in the States. A lot of people are going to be home because trick or treating is being banned because of the COVID.
Yeah, well, there you go. So something we can sit down and watch the fight. So, I mean, I can't wait for that fight. So, I'm trying to get a hold of,
reading some of the comments, I hope you were able to do your research.
Sorry?
I hope you were able to do your research on the monster. Because, we already talked about the significance of the fight. Like, if Maloney was to win, he's going to be on top of the world and pound for pound.
Absolutely. I mean, I've seen Inoye's highlights. I've seen some of his fights.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't look like much of a G's he can hit.
Yeah,
He's knocking down blokes. But I think, what was the name of the last bloke who fought him? I can't pronounce his name properly.
Donaire.
Yeah, Donaire. He exposed him a little bit.
Yeah. A lot of people, because Donaire, he hadn't fought at 118 in about 6+ years. And for him to be as long in the tooth as he is, his age, a lot of people were looking and thinking like, well, if this older man came down to this weight he haven't been at before, it was, I can see how some people can say, he looked a little exposed, Yeah.
And I think Jason will be hard. I saw him in a video the other day on YouTube saying that he's going to be really studying that fight, and if he can expose him, Jason's a lot younger than
about 10 years, maybe more.
29. Yeah, and Jason's going to have the height, the reach advantage, the weight advantage, so he's going to be a lot bigger than the monster. So we gonna be here. So our video did run a lot longer than we expected. So I'm guessing any final thoughts? I guess we already hit everything, right? Yeah, we've hit everything, mate. So yeah, just bring on Tszyu Hogan. I'd love to see that fight, and hopefully they can actually get to the fight.
All right.
That would be fantastic.
This is T-Street Controversy and Big J with FightView360.com. Please subscribe.